Hey there, fellow sea glass lovers. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Jackie, and today I'm going to show you how I created this beautiful three-dimensional sea glass flower. So you're going to think I'm crazy, but this flower took me 5 days to finish. So today I'm going to show you how I did it. And you're going to want to give it a try because it was so much fun to do. So my inspiration for today's art project is the Queen Anne's lace. We see a lot of this near the shore in Prince Edward Island. And I know it's a weed, but let's face it, it's a beautiful weed. It's just so light and airy, and it reminds me so much of the beach. So the Queen Anne's lace is symbolic of safety and sanctuary and refuge because when it goes to seed, it resembles a bird's nest, which is just like the sanctuary of a happy home. So I know this flower doesn't look exactly like a Queen Anne's lace, but the feeling that I was going for was kind of a light and airy flower with quite a few different shades of green, and I think I achieved that. It's really quite unique and different, so I had a lot of fun with this one. So if you want to make a flower like this, first of all, what are you going to need? This flower was created on a small frame with a glass that was 4 inches by 4 inches. So the one that I'm going to demo for you today is on another small frame, and the glass is 3 inches by 4.5 inches. So get yourself a small frame. You might want to paint it white. This one here wasn't white to start with, so I painted it white, or you could paint it whatever color you want. Now for sea glass, I have a lot more sea glass than I'm going to need here, but you want to pick out some white triangles, seafoam colored triangles, green triangles. I have a white rock there because that's what I've chosen to use for my flower center, and I have some tiny blue pieces of sea glass. Now you'll notice my sea glass here, I've picked out pieces that are fairly chunky, just because they're so smooth and nicely done. I think they make really nice flower petals. So I know what you're probably thinking. Jackie, why would it take you 5 days to make such a small project? Well, the key is in the gluing. So what I like to use for a glue, which isn't actually a glue at all, is this Quick Seal Kitchen and Bath Adhesive Caulk, and this takes a long time to set. So the key to creating this project is patience. So I do it layer by layer, and between each layer I like to give it a day to dry. So day one, I'm just going to attach the bottom layer of my flower. So it doesn't take very long on any day that you're working on this, but the key is to get your bottom layer laid out. What are the petals that you want to create for your bottom layer, and glue those on. So I'm going to take my piece of sea glass. Now these are fairly large pieces for the bottom, and I'm going to put a fairly generous amount of kitchen and bath adhesive caulk on there. Now I like to use this product because it doesn't dry out and fall off over time. And my experience with glue is that it works really well in the short term, but not in the long term. I've also had some experience with glue that it turns yellow. So the disadvantage of using this product, the advantage is that it holds over time, doesn't turn yellow, works really well, but it does take a long time to set. So when you are putting layers on top of layers, it's going to work better if you let it set. So when I did my first flower, I did a layer, let it dry overnight, did another layer, let it dry overnight, and it worked. So there you go. I'm going to let that sit overnight, and I'll be back tomorrow to create the next layer of my flower. Now, because I let this sit overnight, my first layer of petals aren't going to move out of place as I glue on my second layer of petals. And that way, I can be sure that the petals are going to sit exactly where I want them to sit. Now what I would do is I'm gluing these on. I'll glue them, I laid them all out ahead of time. I went through my sea glass and picked out just the right pieces that I wanted. And after I glue them on, I'll fuss with them a bit to make sure they're just where I want them to be. This is a huge advantage of using the Kitchen and Bath adhesive caulk. It takes so long to set that you can really play with your sea glass to make sure it's sitting exactly where you want it. Now I can play around with them, get them sitting exactly where I want them before I walk away and give it another day to set. So for my next layer here, although my glass is angling in a little bit, I want to put a rock in here. This isn't going to be the rock that I'm using for the center of my flower, but I'm putting an extra one in here. I have tons of these white rocks. So even though you won't see this one, I'm going to put that there just to support my glass from falling into the center. Because I'm kind of working my way in, going at an angle. And then I'm just going to place these in place to make sure they all look good. I'm going a bit light or a bit greener with this layer of sea glass. My first two layers were white. Now this layer is a bit greener. So now with these you have to kind of be careful to use enough glue so that it stays in place, but not so much that you kind of make a mess of things. And then I'll let this set overnight again. So now for a layer of green sea glass. So I'm putting quite a bit of glue as I get towards the top here because I want the pieces to sit just where they're supposed to sit. And the green, I really like having white and then it transitions to the sea foam or the aqua color and then to the green itself. And oh my heavens, the transition looks so pretty. Gives it a really light, airy look. I think I'll shift these around a little bit so that they sit nicer. All different pieces of sea glass are different thickness and they all have different curves. So when you get playing with them like this, it's worthwhile doing some shifting around just to see what arrangement works the best. So there, I think I've got it. So now that the silicone is all set, I can put my rock right in the middle because all those layers are now nice and secure and the center of my flower can go in place. That's just one of my many white rocks that I collect at the beach. And now I'm going to take some of my tiny, tiny blues and put them, glue them onto the rock so that it's sort of like the seeds that you can get in the middle of a flower. Just adds a tiny blue, a little bit more detail. I find these tiny blues they're kind of easy to see at the beach because the blue just shines up so clearly when you're walking along the shore. But you don't need very many of them to just add another element of interest to a sea glass piece. So I really hope you're enjoying this particular project. It's a small one, but I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun. I like to do something a little bit different once in a while, and this is a good different one. Now once those dry, you won't be able to see the white silicone because the white silicone will turn clear. So I've just gone through some of my green sea glass here and figured out some nice leaves. And I'll put a couple of leaves in each corner, and it just kind of finishes off the flower. So if you're wondering if I did the same technique for this flower, stay tuned. I took pictures as I went, and I'll show you the pictures. I really hope you enjoyed this project, and I really hope you give it a try. You can change up the colors of the sea glass. That would just make your piece a little bit different. Or you could do it the same as I did. Each one of these is going to be totally unique because your sea glass itself is so unique. So thanks so much for joining me for this project. I hope you had a lot of fun. I know I sure did. And until next time, hopefully you make it out to the beach, and happy sea glass hunting.